For more information and a full transcript of this video, check out funforthedisabled.com. When joining us for this video, you need to take some precautions as your health and safety are the most important. To avoid any injury or harm, you need to check your health with your doctor before exercising. By performing any fitness exercises without supervision, like with this video, you are performing them at your own risk. See a fitness professional to give you advice on your exercise form. Strategy for Access Foundation NFP, Bay Area Outreach and Recreation Program, BORP, and Ralph Somack will not be responsible or liable for any injury or harm you sustain as a result of this video.
So let's begin with the opening breath, raising the arms up, outstretched, palms up. Take a deep breath overhead and push down, exhaling. Bringing the hands up, outstretched. Turn the palms facing up and push. Relax the shoulders, come up. Turn the palms facing in and pull. Inhale, this is a stretch. Turn the palms facing out, push, exhale. Open the palms up facing each other. Expand, stretch out to the back. Arms stretched out straight, and then collapse, arms straight. Forward, holding the energy ball. And just continue this motion. Inhale. Push, exhale. Stretch. Relax. And come down and relax. Remember to relax your shoulders and actually fold your shoulders forward or tilt your shoulders forward to hollow the chest. That imparts a contracted, contracted isn't the right word, a more compact posture or body structure. At the same time, we don't want to, as we roll the shoulders forward, we don't want to roll the head forward. We want to try to roll the shoulders forward and raise the crown at the same time. Sitting up straight. Come up. Open and close. Roll the hands in opposite directions. So you're turning the hands in opposite directions. Spinning the left hand clockwise, the right hand counterclockwise. And at the same time, start turning to the right. Blocking down with the left hand, looking over at the right palm, about 8 inches from your right ear. Rotating the hands back to holding the ball. And let's go the other way now. Block down, turn and look. As we turn, we're stretching, so we want to inhale. We relax the center, we exhale. Keep your arms bent. of like you're holding a barrel. This is a movement called pump. It's also known as ward off. Okay, good. Hold the hands over and come up, closing breath and down. So here we have a chance to practice in slow motion the correct body posture for ward off, which is peng, P-E-N-G, peng in Chinese, ward off. And it's actually probably the of the 8 energies that they're called energies, but they're ways of using your hands for self-defense. The 8 energies, I think we went over the 8 energies last week. The first one is peng, and it's number 1 because it's the primary move in Tai Chi. Almost many moves, most moves in Tai Chi, we talk about martial applications, involve a warding off or deflection rather than an attack. And so a deflection will be followed with another movement. And so this is important. And so this is an important exercise to get that feeling of pump. All right. It's also described as an upward motion. And so you've got an upward motion, a pulling back motion, a pushing straight motion, a pulling down motion, and a coming up motion. So those are the different phases of all the moves in the 8 energies. All right, so let's move to the next exercise, open and close. And we're going to turn the ball around and pull to one side, rotating back to center, holding the ball, turning and pulling to the other side. Just keep going. This lower hand, as it moves across, you should feel a pushing motion, pushing feeling. So turning the ball over and pushing to the other side. Try to imagine that your waist is driving the movement, which means that your waist initiates the movement moments before the hands turn. The waist is already starting to move in the other direction. If you think about it, it imparts a whipping action to the move. So if we did it fast, you get this spiraling sensation initiated by the, actually from the dantian to the waist and then to the arms and the hands. So here again, we have that analogy of the arms and the hands similar to the wheels on a cart, and the waist is the axle. So the axle actually controls the movement of the wheel. All right. And now let's push to one side, push to the other side, both fingers pointing forward. We initiate this move by turning the hands facing the other direction. We push out and across with one hand. We pull in and back with the other hand, pushing the shoulder straight back. So this is a this is a movement that's all along this horizontal plane, right? All along this horizontal plane. It's very similar to an exercise that we did, and which is one of the 32 ways of spinning your hands in Ilik Chuan. We did a little bit of this, moving the hands in different directions in different planes. And so all of the movements in Tai Chi are related to one of those spinning motifs. And there are 8 ways of spinning 2 hands in each in 3 directions, which is the horizontal plane, the planes, horizontal plane, the frontal plane, and the sagittal plane. So here we're working across the horizontal plane, again, letting the waist lead the movement. And if we slow it down, it becomes a Qigong exercise. Relax your shoulders. Okay, good. Now, if you think about it, everything we've done so far pretty much involves twisting and turning around the spine. Well, obviously, that's terrific exercise for the spine, but at the same time, the kidneys are back here. And by twisting and turning, you're squishing blood in and out of your kidneys and energizing your kidneys. You're exercising the internal organs. Okay. Now let's rotate from the ball up and down, push, coming back. So this turning and twisting in one direction and then the other direction, these are mirror images of each other, is another feature of Tai Chi, which is based on the yin and yang theory of opposites being complementary. So what we have here is moving in opposite directions asymmetrically, following those principles. Balance, harmony. Good. Come back and open and close. Come down. And now bringing your arms up, making a fist, both hands, drawing the fist back, heart of the fist up at your waistline. I'm going to turn for this. Drawing your shoulders down, tuck your chin in. And we're going to jab out, rotating the fist over 180 degrees from heart up to heart down. At the same time, we're going to kick with the other leg. Kick out as far as you can, either using a toe kick, which is an extension of the foot with the toe pointed up, just contralateral, the opposite hand and foot, or you can go with a heel kick. Bringing the thigh up, flexing the heel out, kicking with the heel and punching at the same time. And let's do this as slow as possible. Turn it into an isometric, stretching the tendons. Flexing the muscles. In our thighs, quadriceps. Just kick as high as you can. Two more. Come back. Starting position. Starting ready position. Overhead and down. Excellent. And now to go down to your toes, and I don't know if you can see my toes, probably not because the table is here. You put one foot down, left or right, pick up the heel and swing the heel back and forth, rotating on the toes. And side to side. Okay, now the other foot. Rocking the heel back and forth. And side to side. Okay, let's see if I have room for this exercise. How many people are sitting in chairs without armrests? Let me put it this way. How many people are sitting in chairs with armrests? Can I get a verbal, yeah, just, why don't you text, why don't you chat me up and tell me yes or no? Armchairs, yes?
No.
Any armchairs? No, I take that as no armchairs. Okay, that means we can do this exercise. Now, this is a really good exercise that I learned from a Taoist monk in Oakland. And you need to have a little bit of room to do this. And if you can stand up, it's actually easier. But I'm going to do it sitting down. So what we're going to do is put your arms at your side, sit up straight, and you're going to rotate so that your chest is turning to the left. At the same time, you're going to bring your hands up that side. So you're rotating the hands, the chest to the left and the hands come up. Now bring them overhead and bring them, and now turn with your hands overhead to the other side and bring them down on the right side. All right. Turn to the left, come up on the left, turn overhead, come down on the right. Turn up on the left, turn down on the right. And let's just keep going with that. Go easy. Since this is a sitting class, I'm doing this sitting down. If you do it standing up, you have more rotation in your hips. That's all, okay? So you can move and you can turn a little bit further. Now, this is really good exercise for your hips. It'll increase your range of motion. All right, now let's do the opposite. Let's come up. I'm on the right side here with my hands down. So we were coming up on the left and down on the right. Now I'm going to come up on the right, turn, and down on the left. Up on the right, over, down on the left. Turn, face the right, overhead, turn to the left, face the left, down. All right, now we're going to, there are two more. We're going to come up the sides, facing forward. Turn to the left and come down. Face forward, come up. Come down on the right. Face forward, come up the sides, turn to the left, come down on the left. Turn forward, the hands down, come up. Turn right, come down on the right. And so on and so forth. So you're coming down on both sides and coming up when you're facing straight. And there's one more, which is coming, instead of coming up and turning and coming down, it's coming down and turning and coming up. So facing forward, come down, turn, come up. Facing forward, come down, turn, come up. Okay. So this is an exercise that's popular among people practicing Shaolin in the Shaolin temples. That's where it's from. It's from the Wudong province. It's a very common exercise for people practicing Shaolin, which is a very athletic form of Chinese internal martial art. So if you like that, let me know. We'll do some more of it. All right, so let's move into the Sun style system. And as a prelude to it, I want to talk a little bit about feelings and intentions. These are very important concepts in Tai Chi, feelings and intentions. And so if you look it up, I just did this a few minutes before the class. Feelings, the definition of feelings, strong mental agitation or excitement is one definition. Another one is an emotion such as joy or sorrow. Intention, definition of intention is one example is an aim or attitude that drives action. An objective. It is also defined as what one plans to achieve. So these are different, but they're very, very closely related. They're both mental, mental functions. But if you think about it, I've thought a lot about this morning. That's why I want to talk about it. Is feelings come first. This is all taking place in the mind, but feelings come first. You have a feeling, either it could be a positive feeling or negative feeling, good feeling or bad feeling. Then that initiates an intention, whose objective it is to do something with that feeling, to materialize something, or you might look at it as a work of some sort to get something done. And with respect to Tai Chi, and really anything for that matter, without having the right feeling, in Buddhism, they talk about right action, right this and right that. That's a really important part of Buddhism. Is without the right feeling, you will make your chances of making an appropriate action are slimmer. Or putting it the other way around, if you have the right feeling, then the action will be appropriate. And you will achieve what it is you intend to do. All right. So what I thought we'd do as an exercise is go through each of the movements in the sun style. This is a good way we're going to be able to review each of the movements. But this time, we're going to try to be aware of what we're feeling. And I won't talk about the objective because the objective can be many different things. Okay, so the feeling is the same, but the objective can be a martial intention, the result of a martial intention to protect yourself or to deal with a hostile situation. It could involve the intention of relaxing the mind. And it can also be intended to improve your health. All right, so those are the three benefits. Those are the major benefits or uses of Tai Chi: martial, for health purposes, and for relaxation. And so we'll leave that part out, what it is you plan to achieve, because that can be a variety of things. But the intention, interestingly enough, is really the same. Without that intention, which we're going to go through for each of the steps, the likelihood of achieving any one of those things, either health benefits, martial prowess application, or mental relaxation, is going to be difficult to do. All right, so let's start with that. I hope we're all on the same wavelength with respect to this. These are in a sense, they're very simple, but most people don't think about this. What we want to do is we want to increase our awareness about what we're doing so that we get as much out of it as we can. All right, so let's just take the opening move. Now, I haven't done this before. This is new for me too. So you guys are going to be guinea pigs. We're going to come up, the hands pointing down. And the feeling, we won't talk about the intentions, the feeling I have is drawing up energy. Now I'm bringing the hands in and down. The feeling I have is kind of winding up using a circular motion to do something. The next move in the commencement is to push. So the feeling I have here obviously is applying a force in the sagittal direction, the hands slightly open. And then when I bring my hands in and open and close, I'm feeling like I'm getting ready to do something else. And in the sun style, this open and closing is a way of kind of revitalizing the chi. And it happens if you're standing just before you change direction. So it's a signal before you change directions, which usually involves doing another application. This is very unique to sun style, which you don't see in other style. It's kind of a holding place, open and close. And the feeling here is pulling against the gentle resistance and pushing, like you're letting a ball expand and letting it close. Okay. As we turn the hands open for single whip, we feel like we're pushing out and extending as we're lean to the right. And what I feel or imagine is pulling something across with my right hand and pushing something away with my left, which is what we'd be doing if we were using this in application. But this is the feeling of pushing and pulling in opposite direction. And then when I set up for cloud hands, bringing my right hand down over, setting up underneath the left elbow, I have this circular feeling, getting ready to do something as I switch and pull across. And when you pull across, you want to feel like you're driving these hands across from left to right by sinking down into your left buttock. If you were standing, you'd be sinking down into your closing the squat and sinking down and pushing off that foot and transferring the weight to the right side and then shifting up, settling down, pushing off that foot and pulling to the left. Since we're sitting, not standing, we have to use our other parts of our body, and we're going to use our butts, one cheek or the other, to feel like we're pushing across until we get to the other side. We then reverse it, change the feeling into pushing down on the right side as we switch and pull to the left. With the hands, this is a complicated move. With the hands, we feel like we're pulling across. Sometimes the intent here isn't obvious. It's more of a feeling. It comes from this feeling of what's going on in your body. So you have to apply these pressures into your chair using your butt. Now, in my mind, this is more sophisticated and more complicated to do sitting down. So a lot of people view, oh, well, sitting down doing Tai Chi, that's not as cool as standing up and doing Tai Chi. But when you're sitting down, it requires you to really focus on those principles in order to get that feeling to make something happen. And so we have to be more imaginative and more intuitive doing it sitting down than we actually do it sitting up. So it's harder in a sense to do it right sitting down than it is doing right sitting up. So here you guys have an advantage if you want to do it sitting down that people standing up don't have. So in my mind, you can get to a higher level in Tai Chi, actually practicing sitting down than you can standing up. This is akin to, you know, these you've seen these movies and read stories about the blind Tai Chi master who throws people around at will. He relies on his senses rather than his sight, and his level of expertise and skill is much higher because he doesn't have the use of certain other parts of his body. Okay, so we do cloud hands. We kind of get tired of doing that, pushing and pulling and pushing and pulling down and over to the side. We bring the one hand up in an arc and over and open and close. So here I have this feeling of changing directions using a circular motion and coming out symmetrically holding this ball and again opening and closing. Okay, now we're going to do the next move, as you recall, is brush knee. And to do brush knee, we set up like so. So we're going to turn the hands to the right. There's this movement, it's a beautiful movement, turning both hands in the same direction, at the same time turning and placing the left fingers on or near the right elbow. And so as we turn, the feeling you have is that of winding up, of your body turning into a spring, a rotational move you want to have this feeling of coiling. That's the word I'm looking for. It's a feeling of coiling, getting ready to do something. All right. And that something is going to be driving this hand through the shoulder line, which is a strike. At the same time, pulling across the thumb down and blocking either a kick or another punch coming at you, and then bringing that hand right in. And these motions happen together. You can use this in many different ways. If you imagine somebody punching me, I can come across and block across like this, and then strike forward like this. Or even grab that hand and pull it in and back as I strike forward. Pulling the person into me and striking forward, using that person's momentum to drive this hand forward into their body. So this is a very powerful, brush knee is a very powerful move that has different applications. But the feeling you want to have is one of force, of pushing and blocking, striking and pulling. or pushing and pulling, or striking and blocking. All right, you can use it to, you can look at it as either pushing or and pulling back, or blocking and striking, depending on your intent. Again, all right. Next move, play the loop. Play the loop, we bring the front hand down, the upper hand up in a kind of like a circular motion, like we're turning a wheel to the right on a car. And from here to here, you want to have this feeling of scribing an elliptoid shape, of moving your hands around in an elliptoid shape, imagining that you're holding something and turning that something over. So that's the feeling of grabbing something and turning it over. And what you're doing really is you're grabbing a wrist and pulling it and turning the wrist over as you take this hand and come down on top of this joint. And now the other person's in this situation and you have total control over it. You can pull, you can push, you can break an arm that way, like applying an upward downward motion, or pulling in or back. This is one of the forces we talked about. We talked about Pong. Li is pulling back, Li. Chi is pushing on, is pulling down. And so you can see here, and if you tease apart the what you're doing is you're applying a rotating motion in grabbing an arm and an elbow and turning it around, pulling up and pulling down, or pushing up and down for a break, or pulling back or pushing forward, depending on the circumstance of what you wanted to do. But anyway, you want to have this round feeling. Now, the intent can be martial, or it could just be this beautiful feeling, right, of bringing one hand down symmetrically and bringing the other hand up. This feeling like this, all right? So you can do what you want with it. And then what we're going to do is turn the hands over, and we're going to deflect, deflect, parry, and punch. We can do this forever if we want, just practice this deflection. Again, beautiful symmetrical movement that calms the mind, exercises the hands. And if we want to use this for something, I'm going to grab an elbow. I'm sorry, I'm going to grab a wrist and pull it in. And then I'm going to bring this hand in and around underneath an armpit, step around and back of that, in front of that person, and push them over. Or come in under an armpit, bring the arm down and bring the arm up under the armpit and cause damage to an arm. Okay, so I'm just mentioning these things. Some of you may not like to hear the martial side of things, others of you do. And that's why I'm giving you a choice here. All right, so the choice here is just go with the flow and the feeling, or imagine you're grabbing, coming under an armpit and then doing something else. All right, so we come to the right, to the left. We're on the right side here. I'm going to ask you to leave the front hand open because I prefer this, which is going to be a parry and a punch. I prefer this rather than grabbing a wrist and pulling it over. It's slapping a strike coming at you aside and punching over here. Or if you prefer, same move, parrying across, blocking a punch, and punching under to the short ribs or to the heart.
Sifu, that slap is called a pak, P-A-K. Pak, the slap across is a pak, P-A-K. It's a pak move.
Pak, P-A-K?
P-A-K. It's used in Wing Chun, but it's the same Chinese word. It's a palm move. It's a palm slap block.
Oh, okay, Pak.
Mhm.
How is it spelled?
PAK.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, thanks. I didn't know that. It's really important. It's really an important move, and it's very effective because you've got a lot of real estate here, and the chances of missing are almost nil. Okay. Well, thank you for that, Chad. So Chad is saying this is called a Pak. It's a deflection or a parry, if you will, followed by some other move. Could be followed by a punch. It could be followed by coming up using the palm of the hand. It could be followed by this kind of move, which is more of a, I don't know, it could be a Wing Chun move, but this is actually from, there's an exercise you can do it this way. It's not Tai Chi, it's Shaolin, where you're blocking down and then coming up like this. And this is kind of a nice exercise to do. But anyway, we're kind of getting off the tangent. We're tangent here. So once we accomplish that, all right, so the feeling is pushing something aside and striking up over it or under it. Of applying a force across and applying a force straight. So we're applying a force over to the right at the same time that we're pushing forward with the fist. And then we're opening the hands up. This is a symmetrical move. And the feeling here is one of opening up and splitting back. This is a splitting force. So it looks like this, open the hands up and come back. Now, this is not done this way. A lot of people do this. That puts your elbows in a vulnerable position. It's actually, to use this effectively, if you imagine someone coming at you this way, is you have to deflect the force, those hands past you by doing this. And that allows that forces the force that forces the other person's hands to deflect just a few inches past their target, which is all you want to do. So it requires, by splitting, it's a very soft and gentle force that has a lot behind it. And so you have the splitting feeling, and now you're going to bring the hands down, feeling of rotation down and pushing up, forward and up. So this is a circular motion. You'll see it done this way, but the correct way of doing is bringing the hands in and elbows down, bringing the hands down in an arc and pushing forward and up, and turning and open and closing. Well, I hope I haven't bored you with that. So we did a lot of talking about feeling. I just kind of want to instill in you a kind of sense of where you should be going with this, and then let you decide how you want to use it. So any questions so far? All right, good. So now let's go through the second part of it, which is the mirror image of the first 12 movements. And we won't talk about feelings and intent. We'll just let you go ahead and do the exercise on your own as you wish. So sitting up straight, tucking the chin in, bring the hands up, out straight, fingers pointing down and in and down. Breathing in and pushing out. Exhaling, bringing the hands up and in, and open and close. We did commencement. We're doing it again here. Normally going in the other direction, we would just go right into single whip, which is what we're going to do now. And this time it's the opposite. So as we push out, we're going to shift to the left. Imagine pulling to the left and striking with the right as we do this. And then come up to the right, set up the cloud hands left. Switching the hands. Across. Follow your upper fingers as they move across in front of your face. The lower hand moves across, fingers pointing in the direction they're moving at about the level of the waist, dantian. And let's come back to the left again. Bringing the left hand scooping up, and as we turn across, we go right in as we turn without stopping. We're going to open and close. So let's try to meld these movements one into the other without stopping, but do it slowly. All right. Single whip open and close, setting up for brush knee on the left, turning to the left, brush knee. Play the lute. This time right hand up, left hand down. Turn the hands over, facing each other, lower hand up. Deflect 1, deflect 2. Make a fist with the lower hand. Bring the right hand across and punch. Open the hands up. Shift back, elbows down, calling block. Push down and out, push. Come in and open and close. One more brush knee in that direction. Same type of brush knee. Okay, now we're set up after that brush knee, the left hand out, the right palm down at the waist, to do leisurely tying the coat. We're going to bring the hands, rotate the palms so they're facing each other. Bring the first palm up and out, past the left. So the palms are sliding past each other until the left palm is a few inches, about a hand's length in from the right palm, and you touch the fingers of the left palm to the right inside of the right wrist. As soon as that happens, you open or unfold the wrists, bring the palms in under the chin and out, striking out, guiding the strike with the left hand. Fingers still attached. Swing over to the right, turn as far as you can, look where in the direction you're going. Swivel the right palm around under the chin, palm facing up like you're holding the tray. Don't lose the connection, just swivel it around like a joint. The left finger still attached to the right wrist. And now you're in a position to push. And again, you imagine you're pushing down and up. Open the palms up facing each other, bring them in. That, breathe deep breath and open and close. So when you open and close, just open just inside shoulder line and close just about just past the shoulder line. You don't want to get it too close or too far open. You want to keep that energy flowing in your body. And if you're too far open, you're going to lose it, or too far closed, you're constricted. So we do one more single whip to set up for the next move, which is punch under elbow. And you'll see why we do the single whip. So there's a reason for in most cases, there's a reason for the order of these movements, because one leads into the other. So eventually what we want to do is be in this position. And to get in that position, we get the hands. Okay, we want to get the hands in the right position in order to be able to do this. And so if we do our single whip, now we can bring this right hand down in an arc from this position, making the fist would bring it down in an arc and around. So this is a circular motion. And it really looks like this. Practice this feeling. This left hand is moving around clockwise. Right hand is moving around clockwise. And that gets you in a position that gets the hand moving in a whip-like action, so that when you do this, you can apply more force, and then you're bringing this hand in around and through. So this feeling is bringing it around in the back through. And where was I? And this one here is turning and pushing across. So we single whip, get that whip-like action going, block and strike. And now I'm going to strike under. And remember, the last two times we struck over or under. And here, as I come around, I'm going to strike. I'm going to come up and block this way. I'm going to block higher, right? So I'm going to block higher, and I'm going to punch lower under this elbow, accomplishing the same thing, blocking the strike aside, but punching down into the stomach or the solar plexus or the heart, under the elbow. This is very short, it's not like this. So we get into that position like this, see? Turning, making a fist, bringing this around in an arc like we're grabbing something, and then turning our waist and punching through using the waist. All right, so it's actually it looks simple, but it's actually kind of a complex move when it's done right. And now there are two moves that we're going to do now that look a lot like look a lot like brush knee, but instead of blocking and pushing, we're going to be grabbing and pulling. And so the feeling we have here, instead of blocking across and pushing forward, is one of grabbing and pulling forward. All right, so that's the feeling, but it looks very much the same. And so we're going to open and close. Normally this is done to the left or to the right, but that's very hard to do sitting down. So we're going to do both moves forward on the right side and the left side, which makes just as much sense if we want to grab something in the back and pull it forward from the right side or the left side. And so this isn't, this stuff we're doing isn't some kind of, I don't want to use that word. It's not, kind of one of these sissy kind of Tai Chi derivatives. This is the real thing. We're just doing it sitting down, all right? So what we're going to do is we're going to open and close, and we're going to do this forward. And this is called retreat the monkey. All right. So we're going to turn to the right, just like we're doing brush knee and brush knee. The feeling like we're grabbing something with this back right hand and grabbing something with a wrist with the left, grabbing a joint with an elbow with the right hand, grabbing a wrist with the forehand. But we leave the hands open. The intent is there. And we're just going to do brush knee. We're pulling something forward and letting it go by us. And we just go to the other side, just set up like you're setting up for brush knee on the other side, and do the same movement with the feeling of pulling rather than pushing. All right. So basically, again, we open and close, repulse the monkey, turn to the side, like brush knee, turn to the side, grab and pull, like brush knee. All right. So now we're here. All right. We got one more thing to do. So we went 1, 2. We've got to get back in position to get this hand down here to do the reverse of leisurely tying the coat, which is bringing the left hand up. So that forces us to do one more brush knee. And so this is why I'm saying when Sun Lu-Ten made this up, he didn't just say, oh, I'm going to do another brush knee. You have to do another brush knee to get into that position, unless you stop doing everything and just go to that position. But we don't want to do this. We want to maintain the integrity of the system. All right, so we did 1, we did 2 repulse the monkeys. And now we're going to set up and we're going to do one more brush knee with the intent of blocking and pushing. And now we're in a position to do the mirror image of leisurely tying the coat. We're doing it on the left side rather than the right side. Everyone with me? Good. One of the few times that I'm actually been able to make this end the session on time. All right, so I'm here like this. Remember, left hand down, palm down, right hand out. It's exactly the same, but on the other side, you turn the palms over so they're facing each other. It's as if you're pulling a gun out of a holster and pushing it forward as you pull the right hand back, touching the right fingers to the inside of the left wrist, just like before. Now the hands are out here, and we're going to turn the palms over and bringing up. This time, the right fingers are touching the inside of the left wrist rather than the other way around. We strike out, and now just turn all the way, arms outstretched, don't lock your joints, a little bit of flex in the arms. You want to strike across or pull across, a feeling of expansive feeling of pulling across. It's almost like this, coming back under as we turn the body with the hands forward and push, pushing down and out, pull in and open and close. Now that's 34, 35 movements. I don't know. I never really added them up. And that's basically the course. And we could go on and learn more movements, or we can just practice these and talk about applications and do other things. But anyway, at this point, we're going to end. And remember that if you recall, the opening move or commencement was bringing the hands up, the fingers pointing down and in. And here we're here. Want to bring the arms out. It's exactly the opposite of the commencement. Bring the palms down, fingers pointing down, and we end. We kind of hang out there for a while and just take a few deep breaths. And I like to end it with a closed breath. Good. So all of these arts have closing movements, and you know they're all similar. Look at the Chen style. This is Chen style now. Chen is the original style, and at the end. Let's see if I can do this here. I'm going to come back, step back, and I'm going to sweep back. And now here's the ending. So there's a flourish. There's always a flourish. And that's the end of the Chen style sword. And all the weapons forms that I recall, anyway, have these sort of flourishing ending movements, which impart a finality and at the same time allows the energy to dissipate, because you've worked yourself up. There's a lot of energy moving around your body. Well, we don't want to leave that energy there. I guess some people might argue that it cannot actually do damage. We want to let it go so that we can totally relax. And so as we start up, we're bringing energy up, and we end coming down, we let the energy go. And then I like to end it with this kind of closing breath. Take a nice deep breath. And so that's my sort of addition to this. You don't need to do that. All right.